sign if we have a new city budget. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, the next one is an obligation that we have, and I believe we have to do this by vote, by roll call vote, and that's to discuss, to approve and adopt the 2019-20 tax year gross tax rate for the city of Alpine by ordinance. I know the ordinance is in our package, I know it's been posted, and the tax rate of .545100 per $100 value to support the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. With the maintenance and operations, this goes back to your question before, of the M&O being at, so that's for maintenance and operations of .504330 cents, and an interest and sinking fund of .04077 cents per $100 amount. So that's the motion.
That's a motion. Is there a second? Second. Okay, any discussion on this?
So the only point that I'd like to make, I know council has worked really hard not to modify our tax rate. I will remind everyone, because it's an important part, we had a assessed tax value last year for property of $328 million. That actually went down by $4 million. And so the effective tax rate had to go up just slightly to be able to cover the additional $17,000 to bring in, but it's the same effective tax rate. So I just want to make that point, sir.
Okay. Okay,
So we have a motion.
we have motion and, discussion.
I just have one quick question. These numbers you have in here and these numbers on the front, and it's not the same, they're the different, I mean, they're not different. There's a few more on here. We're just doing
We're just doing this one, that's
this one.
That's correct.
This one,
That's
okay.
Yes, yes,
Adopting
thank you.
All right.
last year's budget.
Yes.
All right,
Budget.
And that's the $17,690 that,
okay,
because of having certain valuations.
got it.
Okay, any more discussion? Ready, all those in favor? Raise your
We
right
need to
hand.
do a roll
Yes.
call.
We have to do a roll
Oh, we have roll
This is
call,
a roll
right.
call.
We'll start on the left.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. I can't vote on this one, right? Okay. Motion carries, thank you.
Okay. Item number 4, I know that our acting, interim, whatever we want to call Cynthia, secretary, manager, and all that stuff, has been working diligently with the banks, and one of the things that has to get sent out, we got to get the check signatories updated for our checking accounts. So I wanted to make sure that got put on the agenda. Cynthia, I'm going to turn it over to you.
After going through the ACH issues that we had with the bank when we were suspended and stuff, they also alerted me that we needed to update our signature cards, because 2 out of the 4 that were on the signature cards have left the city of Alpine. So we needed to get those, and that is actually in the process right now of them trying to review the signature cards. And I'll call them Monday and maybe that day. So but that's where we are. We need to update our signature card and we need 2 previous employees that were on.
How soon can we get an update on that?
I'll call tomorrow. And see because right now we technically do have 2 official signatures that can still sign. It's myself and Captain Lozoya.
Okay.
So are you recommending we take action on this tonight or wait till next time because you're okay?
No, I would like for council to take action tonight on this item.
Okay.
And how many do we need?
We have a total of 4 on the signature.
So then we'll need Eric and Brent.
What is your recommendation, Cynthia?
It's always city secretary, having finance, so.
We used to have 2 officers on there, so perhaps maybe Lieutenant Figueroa? Oh, yeah, we can do Randy Guzman. Randy, are you willing to get on the signature card, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. So it'll be Randy Guzman, Daryl Lozoya, myself, and Eric Zimmer.
But it usually would be Cynthia and myself.
Right,
Signing.
or the main.
Randy and
Backup.
Captain Sawyer would be.
Okay. All right, so back to you.
So I would amend that to specifically state, to update the check signatories from all City of Alpine checking accounts to include the city manager, the city secretary, Randy Guzman, and Captain Lasoya.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? None? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thanks, sir. Okay, one more.
Okay, the next is, and hopefully you all had an opportunity to read in your package the West Texas Ambulance Service Contract that expires at the end of this month. So we have between this meeting and the next meeting to either extend it or we will be without ambulance service. The contract was effective the 1st of October 2016. It is for a 3-year term with a renewal for 3 years. It's already in the contract. It automatically escalates up to this next year of $141,000, following year $150,000, and the last year of the contract would be $161,000. By way of information and background, the city has in fact repeated this in the past to look for competitive bids, and they were not within, what's the right term I can use like myself, they were not within the snowball's throw of West Texas ambulance charges because of the residents here. So with that, I will propose we execute the extension of the West Texas ambulance service contract with the city of Alpine for an additional 3 years.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made second. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. So I see that the Brewster County is going to be paying some of it and Big Bend Regional Hospital District. Do they have to agree to this also, or do we just get to make the decision and they go ahead and make the payment?
We make our decision, and they are separate contracts they have with them.
Okay.
Those intend to be related.
All right.
Okay, any more? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. I might add to the council that under Texas law, a city can't obligate future city councils financially. So although it's a 3-year contract, it's going to have to be renewed annually by budget.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
The next item, Mayor, if I may, as you recall at the last council meeting, planning and zoning came forward under Dick Zimmer's leadership, and there was a recommendation that we allocate $5,000 out of the fiscal year 18-19 reserve to support planning and zoning to finally get the ArcGIS system updated to reflect the Planning and Zoning Commission's city zoning map, which hasn't happened in as long as I've been around, which, yeah. So I would make the motion that council allocate $5,000 from the FY 18-19 reserve to support Planning and Zoning Commission city zoning map to be updated and available for the city to use in the ArcGIS system.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's made second. Any discussion?
Yes. What does ARC stand for, GIS? We're using the ARC GIS system.
GIS is a geographic information system.
But it's got the acronym in front of it.
The ARC is, it's a technical, but basically it's electronic maps
Yeah.
of the city. And the way that ArcGIS system works is it has layers. You can
Yeah.
you can have one layer that has the blocks, another one that has zoning, another one that has floodplain.
Yeah, I'm
That's the way
familiar
it
with the
works.
GIS system.
Yeah.
I was just.
But I don't know what ARC is.
So I don't know that there has ever been a name, I'm looking online right now. It was developed by ERIS, ESRI, and they call it the ARC system. I get a monthly periodical from them, and I've never seen ARC spelled.
Yeah, that's true.
So
And my only other question is 5,000 and up?
That's what they asked for? Yeah, because they're local, correct?
we need more money, we'll just have to go out and raise it ourselves.
So you're not coming knocking on the door then?
But I think to your point, Mayor, one of the areas that I had asked for some time ago was the city needs an integrated GIS system to take into account our wastewater system, our water line system, our gas system, our road system, our park system. They're all independent, and we don't have a systems integrator. We just don't have one of those. And so, in my view, this is the first step to go work it that will be helpful. But I think we as council are going to have to talk about that, and Eric, that's something you're going to have to work with, come back with us with, is what's our game plan and strategy?
So Councilor Louise, one of these things that this can do is output a KMZ file. So then a resident could overlay that onto Google Earth. So if you're at your home computer, we could attach that to the city website, and then they could actually see the plots and the plats across the city map. As we evolve and develop into water and wastewater, some of that we wouldn't necessarily share publicly because just from a health perspective, normally you don't show all your water and wastewater. But we would have access from the city perspective for that.
You got your assignment then.
I know, I love it.
So,
Okay, so any more discussion? Let's call for the question then. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. You got your 5,000. Okay, city council comments and answers. I'll start with my right.
Thank you guys for sticking around, and Eric, I'm glad to see you back, and I'm glad to get some of the weight off of your shoulders.
I'm off tomorrow.
something you were wrong.
I'm glad we're gonna be able to make some forward movement. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back for sure. Glad to have you. And thank you, everybody, for coming.
I want to thank everybody for coming. Also want to congratulate you, Eric, and say that you cannot have off tomorrow. And I'm glad we have Rod. You've done a lot for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure to serve the city of Alpine and the big citizens here.
I'm also glad to see Randy here. That's really important as he comes to our meetings.
So,
Yes, sir.
thank you, and I too would like to say welcome back, Eric, and I'd like to thank everyone for participating in the discussion. I will apologize for being a bit heated at times. Probably my biggest frustration sitting on council and at times being a member of the community is there are lots of statements that get made and rumors get started without having the right dialogue back and forth. In my view, is we may not always agree. In fact, I would expect we don't always agree. But I think one of the important tenets for this council, and I think for the city, is put on the table, have a discussion. And the more we do that, the better we work our way through. Which is, in my mind, one of the reasons to put the interview for Eric out in front of everyone, because there have been lots of allegations made. I mean, lots of them. The statements made by Dave Lambricks and Oscar about deals already been cut, the 5 elements of agreement. Where do they get started from? I have no idea. But I think we as council have to do our best to call it as we see it, which is fine, put on the table. You know, we may agree, we may disagree, that's fine, but let's make sure we talk about our elements, and that's also part of the reason I went through the exhaustive review of what Pete Smythe had brought forward relative to what went on in the employee loan program, and go back to the source material. So anyway, thanks very much for dealing with my indulgence. Thank you very much.
Yes, we do take a lot of heat here at council, trust me.
Mayor, as a citizen, I want to thank you folks for what you did tonight. As you know, I sat through with you a couple of meetings, council meetings, that were not pleasant, were very unpleasant. As this has been handled, I think, in a very professional, civilized, and effective manner. And appreciate you all agreeing to participate.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Also, with the new Texas law, which went into effect September 1, citizens now have the right to comment at any given time during council meeting, which did not happen before. So, with that said, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Those that hung out to the last minute. Eric, welcome back. And we'll move on.
Let's move forward.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I propose that pursuant to Texas Government Code 51.071, consultation with attorney, that we move into executive session to cover the item listed. That's provide an update regarding employee grievances logged in the last 3 or 4 weeks that Councilman Rodriguez has sponsored.
Okay, what time is it?
It's 8:39.
39. Okay, that was your motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, there's no discussion on it, so all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Okay, we're out of regular meeting now.
Real quick, can we
5-minute break. 5-minute break, okay?
We need to probably make motion to be on 2100.
On that one?
So, Mr. Mayor, in light of the impending hour,
Oh, yeah.
I would move that council extend its normally scheduled meeting beyond 2100 so it can conduct official signatures.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by several seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign, motion carries.
Now we can afford the 5 minutes.
Now we can afford 5 minutes.